and I was so happy and excited. They had a girls and a boys section. They had all the equipment. It was an actual proper bespoke gymnasium. It had all of the equipment, low bars. They didn't have high bars, it was for children really. Low bars, parallel bars, mats, trampettes, horses, everything apart from a pit. Pitted gyms back then were quite rare. And a pit is basically a foam pit. So you can try out tricks and get used to orientating yourself without having to sort your landing out. So anyway, I started training there, and it took a few months, but as soon as we had the money and they had a fresh stock in there, I was able to actually buy the kit that everyone wore. Our colours were blue and red, and so it was a blue leotard with a red stripe down the side, and blue shorts with a red stripe down the side, and then a blue tracksuit with 2 red stripes down the arms and legs, and it was pretty cool. And you could buy hand guards, which were kind of suede protectors, because on the bars you used to rub your hands raw, and hand guards would try and protect your hands from blistering. And I started to make friends. My kind of best friend there was a guy called Gary Middleton. He was a year younger than me, but we got on. And in fact, we all got on. And we basically, what would happen was, you would go there and you would warm up and stretch. You'd do that horrible bit at the beginning of any training session, which was, it took about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, where you would literally jog around for a bit, and then you would sit there and go through every muscle and ligament and stretch it out, and it was painful, especially if you trained once, twice, 3 times a week, 4 times. Your body never really had a time to heal, so you're stretching on painful stretches anyway, and so everyone dreaded that bit. But then once that bit was over, then you get on the kit, and depending on what night it was or whatever, you're either on the floor, or you maybe do two things a night. So you maybe start on the floor and practice or get trained better on wherever you were at. You know, it could be somersault training. They could be trying to teach you how to do a somersault. It wasn't long before they had taught me how to do a standing back somersault. And to be honest, that's all I ever wanted to do in the beginning. I could have quit there happy. But I was in the game at this point. I'd started to learn the National Development Plan routines. And so I was in the game. And then we started to train at this other club, Canley. It was the same club, but it was a gym. I don't know why we started training there. They did have a ballet room with mirrors. That was it, I think, because the head coach, who was really head of the girls, he was head of it all really, it was his club, him and his wife. But there was a couple of guys who looked after the boys, and they mainly concentrated on the girls. And we would all kind of warm up together. Oh, in fact, no, the boys and the girls would warm up separately, but in the same gym, same hours and stuff like that. I remember I fell in love with a girl called Marie at this point. She was the one with the most flair with the girls. And she had kind of a gypsy way about her, but I really, I couldn't take my eyes off her. Basically, when you did, what would happen was, you'd set up a piece of equipment, and then you'd all stand in a line, and then the person at the front of the line would get onto whatever piece of, we were doing, and they would do it with two coaches, and the coaches would, straighten out, and they would do it for maybe 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, whatever we were trying to learn, and then you would go to the back of the queue, and the next person would have a go at that, and that's how they'd teach us. So time in the queue was spent, for me, idly chit-chatting, making up stories with my other male gymnasts, or looking across to see what Marie was doing.